Welcome to another edition of the Morning Marathon. I am your host, Gabby Ortiz, and my co-host,
Peyton Vince.
And I am L.A. Patterson.
And today we have a jam-packed show for you. We have three special guests in three different occupations. Today, I brought in the Chief of Staff, Melissa Meyerson, for a company called Ties. Who did you bring in?
I brought in a semi-pro baseball player, Chris Grillo.
Today I brought in one of my good friends. He's a veteran of two different branches of service, Matt Roberts.
That should be interesting, very interesting. So, I know you were in the service before, right?
Yes, I was.
So will you be talking to him about your time in the service?
Yes, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some of our experiences on a part of the service that a lot of people don't talk about, and that's deployments. And we're going to talk about just some of the challenges and how we overcame some of those challenges.
That's a great topic considering, you know, the U.S. is deploying people and you have, you know, the ISIS crisis and you have, you know, things going on in Europe.
Exactly.
So I think that's going to be a real educational interview for our audience.
It's going to be very interesting, and there's going to be a lot of things that the average person doesn't understand about deployment. So that's why I'm glad I could bring Mr. Roberts in today.
Yeah, not only that, you and Matt can definitely impact someone's decision whether to join the service or not.
Exactly. So I really look forward to talking with him.
And what do you look forward to the most, Peyton, with your guest?
Just pretty much the struggles of just trying to make it to please yourself as a baseball player and just working your way up from being pretty much a nobody, working your way up to actually working up to semi-pro baseball.
So if I'm correct, he used to play baseball, but now he's a wrestler?
No, he's just regular baseball, and he's just trying to work his way up to semi-pro baseball, which is pretty much your minor league affiliations and whatnot. So it's just, we'll be talking about working your way up to it from the differences from high school to pretty much semi-pro.
And that's great too, because it is baseball season.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
There's a lot of young prospects out there who want to be baseball players. So it's good for somebody like your guest to come in and kind of educate our audiences on, you know, how to make it to baseball.
Exactly.
And I'm curious to hear what your guest has to say of some of the things that he has undergone as he was going through that, you know.
Right, exactly. And that's also the same with you and Mr. Roberts also. I'm interested in that too.
Exactly. It's going to be a fun show today. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a great show. I mean, we got different topics, we got different guests. You know, it's going to be a fun show. We're going to do a lot of different things, so stay tuned with us.
Exactly.
So.
Yep, our first kickoff to the summer starts with the morning marathon.
Yes, I mean, morning marathon, you know, we're kicking it off right, first start of summer. Here we go, guys.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
You know, so don't go anywhere. You know, we got a hot show for you guys. You know, we're looking forward to interviewing our guests and, you know, just bringing you what we can.
Is there any big summer plans for you guys this year?
I may do a little bit of traveling. I'm looking to go to San Diego for a conference.
Oh, nice.
So I'm looking forward to that trip.
Awesome. Well, stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back after these messages on the Morning Marathon.
And cut.
Welcome to the Morning Marathon. I am your host, Gabby Ortiz, and my co-host,
Peyton Vince.
and
I am L.A. Patterson.
today we have a jam-packed show for you. We have three different guests, three different occupations. I brought in Melissa Meyerson for all the women out there and women who want to endure an education. So she is the Chief of Staff for a company called Ties, and today we're going to talk about how STEM education can benefit your children. And who did you bring, Peyton?
I brought in an aspiring semi-pro baseball player, a good friend of mine, and just we'll be talking about today about the struggles and the benefits of actually aspiring your dream of actually playing semi-pro baseball.
And I know you can relate to this because you did play baseball growing up,
Yeah, up
correct?
until pretty much just recently. I stopped playing after my senior year of high school.
Nice. So did you know your guest prior to playing baseball, or did you just meet him?
I met him through somewhere else, and over time we had the common thing of baseball.
Now, do you still play baseball?
Not too often.
Okay. And today, LA, who did you bring in?
Yes, I have one of my good friends coming in, Matt Roberts, and he has a very interesting perspective with being a veteran. He actually served for two different branches of service. So he'll be talking about those experiences along with some of the things he went through when he was deployed overseas.
And I know you were in the service, correct?
That is correct.
And what branch did you serve in?
I was in the United States Navy.
Is that the same branch Matt was in, or do you guys differ in any way?
We were different. The Marines and Navy, we do a lot of things together, but you know, for what the Marines do, they're more of the ground troops. We are like the escorts. We take the Marines to a lot of different places. So we do kind of have that inside rivalry, but it's still a brotherhood. You know, we do a lot of things hand in hand. So we're going to share our perspectives and talk about some of the challenges that we both endured as far as deployment goes.
That's nice because a lot of people can get a misconception on what life is like in the service.
Exactly, and it will help, you know, people that are interested in getting into the service. It'll give them some food for thought, some things to take into consideration.
Okay, so with that being said, what do you want the audience to take away from your interview with Matt?
I really want to give everyone that's watching this show kind of a perspective of what it takes to really, you know, serve the country, especially on the deployment side. Look at some of the challenges, some of the effects as far as like relationships goes, and just knowing what, you know, what we do on the deployment.
Oh, absolutely, because each branch serves different. All right.
That is correct.
So stay tuned. After this break, we'll have our guest, and we'll talk a little bit more about Peyton's guest. We'll talk a little bit more about LA's guest and my guest as well. This is the Morning Marathon, and I am Gabby Ortiz, and we'll be right back.
OCB needs video editors. I wish I could do that. Maybe I should stop dreaming and finally do it.
Here at the Ohio Center for Broadcasting, we can help you make that dream a reality. With instructors who are actually industry professionals, you get the information you need to make it in the industry. From video and audio production to running a television studio, we've got you covered. With all the latest technology and equipment, you will be ready for the working world. Ohio Center for Broadcasting, 216-503-5900 or beonair.com.
What you do with your tax refund is entirely up to you. Like buying the pony your parents never got you, or splurging on a fancy dinner.
More gold, sir?
Yes. Maybe customizing your car, or simply enjoying hot chocolate in your new hot tub.
Another marshmallow?
Filled with hot chocolate. File your simple federal return for free. TaxSlayer.com. Ready, set, refund.
I'm so bored. They're gone. We gotta get more Doritos.
Are you hangry? Know the signs. Uncontrollable yelling.
Why aren't you egg rolls?
Hallucination.
Sushi.
Pants discomfort.
I hate you, pants.
Hangry. It can happen to anyone. Fortunately, there's E24, the app that tells hunger to shut up.
Egg rolls. Thanks, Snoop.
E24. In my medical opinion, it's the best way to order food online, baby.
Welcome back to Morning Marathon. I am your host for today, L.A. Patterson, and today my special guest is Mr. Matt Roberts. He served as a dual military member for 12 years, serving in the Marines and the Army. Welcome to the Morning Marathon.
Thanks, you, sir.
Nice to meet you,
Thanks
sir.
for having me.
Anytime, anytime. Now, you were in a very unique circumstance because you served not only in the Marines but the Army. What are some significant differences between the two branches?
I would say the Marine Corps is a proud bunch, a much smaller branch as far as logistics and as far as movements, but very stubborn and bullheaded and very arrogant and proud bunch of soldiers. But they have the backbone, you know, to back it up. The term leathernecks really applies. Actually, the Germans coined the Marines devil dogs or Teufelhunden back in World War II, and the term is stuck. Very arrogant, stubborn, but confident in what they do. So I would say one of the main differences, you know, the Marines are a smaller branch, but they use what they have to their benefit and train very hard and make the weapons that they have, work for them well.
Okay, that'll work. And between the two branches, the Marines and the Army, were there a lot of transitions that you had to go through to transition from the Marines to Army?
Oh, definitely. In the military, you're always proving yourself. You know, your resume follows you, but But the guys in the Army, I went to a paratrooper unit where 90% of the post is airborne. You know, and I'm 30 years old going into the Army and going to airborne school, and everybody wants to test you. Like, okay, you were a big bad Marine. You know, let's see what you got every day that you're there. So it was definitely a challenge, but I took on all challenges, you know, because that was part of the adrenaline rush to prove to, you know, to prove to my colleagues and to other people, you know, that, you know, this is what it takes. Right.
Exactly, exactly.
And I'm trying to keep myself, you know, keep my language clean. I realize we're on the air.
I totally understand that.
Right.
And I understand that, you know, it can be a challenging environment, you know, for anyone to get into the, you know, there's a different culture, especially, you know, in the Marines and the Army. So I definitely understand that. Now, as far in regards to the deployment cycles, you know, is there a big difference between deploying in the Marines versus the Army?
Yes and no.
Okay.
And yes, because the Marine Corps I deployed on the West Coast, 6-month deployments.
Okay.
And you're on a ship with 2,500 people, 2,000 people, depending on the size of the ship that you're on. I was in the 11th MEU and 13th MEU when I deployed in the West Pacific.
Okay.
And you're dealing with a bunch of guys who are away from home. The second deployment I had, we were on a ship with female soldiers. They tried to infiltrate female soldiers into the rotation, and needless to say, it didn't work out so well. The percentage of pregnancy on the boat and the percentage of guys in trouble because the females were on the boat was drastically high. But as far as the Army, you know, deployments, I had a secret clearance. So I went places with people who had a lot of qualifications. The Army had more money. You know, the places that I went to were joint task forces and multi-task forces joining together to form coalitions to, you know, fight terrorism. So it was much different, only because of the time period that I went and the guys that I was working with.
Okay.
If you want me to elaborate a little bit, I can. But
definitely. One thing I would like to talk about is I understand that the objectives, you know, like you were talking about a little bit, and the length is different, you know, depending on what the mission is.
Sure.
And that has to be a challenging circumstance, especially for family and for dealing with loved ones. Could you talk about some of those challenges that you may have faced?
Sure, it's very difficult. One of the main things is mental toughness. You know, saying goodbye to your loved ones, being home for a week or 2 weeks and not knowing if you're coming home. I was engaged to be married 3 times during my 12+ years in the military, and every woman that I was engaged to decided that you know, the deployments and me being gone was too much for them to handle. You know, they kind of instill in your mentality and beat into your mental toughness that it's mind over matter. You know, if it's amazing what you can get used to, and it's amazing what you can prepare your mind and your body to deal with. Exactly. You're physically, your body is the one that wants to quit first.
Right.
So mentally, they build your mind to a toughness where your body overcomes that through mental toughness, and you do more than you would think you could do. I mean, I was deployed in rock climbing and climbing mountains up in Bridgeport, Nevada, cold weather training, and we were rock climbing in the middle of the night. No lights, low visibility, hiding out with NVGs, guys walking over top of you, stopping to take a piss, and you're standing within feet of them, being quiet in a ghillie suit, and sneaking up on these guys, you know, to, you know, attempt to take their life without them knowing that you're there. So, you know, and you could be laying in a bed of mosquitoes. I had a wolf spider climbing on my back.
Oh, wow.
You know, one of my buddies killed it, but, you know, you can't just get up and go ow or
Say
or
time out,
swat
yeah.
off mosquito. Yeah, time out,
Exactly.
guys.
Right.
I'm not ready for this.
Exactly.
You know, you got to be prepared for whatever comes down, and you know, you're put in situations where they expect you to succeed.
Understandable, understandable. And as we talk about, you know, the limp and the challenges of just the deployment cycle, could you describe to us what a normal day or a traditional day, you know, in a deployment cycle would be like for you?
Sure. Day starts about 4:30 in the morning. Get up and stretch, brush your teeth, get ready for physical fitness training. I was a team leader and a squad leader, so you're going around and getting your guys up. You're getting ready for mentally for warfare training and PT. Right. So you go out and train for an hour, hour and a half, calisthenics and push-ups, sit-ups, leg lifts, mountain climbers for 30 to 40 minutes, and then you run for an hour solid. Yeah. Then you go take a quick shower, go to chow, get out your weapons, get your teams together, and you put together a SMEAC or a situation, mission, execution of the mission, train your guys. We're on the ship, so we train in urban warfare, going from bulkhead to bulkhead, going around the ship like insurgents were on the ship, or we were, you know, being inserted to the ship to seize the ship and take it over, stuff like that. Then you break for lunch. You go back and you do more training, check out comms, clean weapons. Yeah. It's a long day, 12, 13-hour days. And after evening chow, you get a briefing, you know, get to rack out for a few hours, but then, you know, there's overnight shifts, putting together a situation report. If at 3 in the morning you get a call you're going somewhere, guess what? You don't get much sleep.
Yeah.
You pack your crap and you're ready to go.
Understandable, understandable. And, you know, talking about that deployment cycle and just the longer days, there's not too many, you know, depending on, again, what the mission is, there's not too many breaks so you can, you know, kind of just turn the monster off.
Or decompress.
Exactly.
Right.
So, you know, with that being said, stress, anxiety, those are two, you know, high-risk variables that can be detrimental, you know, for soldiers that are deployed. How did you and other soldiers cope with that? And, you know, or what would you suggest that soldiers do to kind of deal with those challenges that come up?
Well, I wouldn't suggest this, but my solution was alcohol and more alcohol. And I'm not proud of this, but, you know, female entertainers, so to speak. You know, you're deployed, you're asking a woman to stay with you and be loyal to you.
Right.
When you're overseas, and I've had it blow up in my face 3 times. So, you know, you go out to get the edge off, drink a little bit, and a little bit turns into a lot more, and a lot more turns into a lot more. But my adrenaline was shooting guns, training to be more proficient to shoot guns, working out, and drinking, you know. And if there was occasional, you know, opportunity with a, you know, female, like I said, on her ship, they introduced female soldiers, and it didn't go over so well, you know, because you got 3,000-4,000 guys fighting over 800 women. It's not a real good ratio.
Understandable. And that sometimes, do you feel that can also jeopardize the mission, you know, mission readiness?
Well, they weren't combat ready troops, and I don't have anything against women who were in our airborne units, because there were some of the women that were tougher than some of the guys that I trained with. They would suck it up and drive on, and because they had something to prove. But as far as combat MOSs, there was no G.I. Jane crap going on. That was, you know, that was a movie.
Understandable.
You know, but some of the combat medics that I dealt with, very professional females, and they weren't in a combat zone, but they were the first people you would see when you got medevaced or when you got to a base and you got guys out of a combat situation, flew them in. There was WMs, you know, and medics that would, you know, could hold their own with guys.
Understandable.
You know, so a lot of respect goes out to them.
Okay.
You know, because they're doing a job that, 1, people don't think that they're equal, and 2, that they don't want them to be there.
Okay.
And they're like, guess what? Too bad, I'm here. Deal with it.
Yeah.
You know. So I got a lot of respect for that
Good
because
deal.
I had a lot of people tell me I was too old to be an airborne infantry guy, and I had a lot of people tell me that I would never make it in the Marines. And you know, luckily I don't, you know, listen to what other people say and what their opinion is, because everybody's got an opinion.
Everybody has one, exactly. Well, I would like to thank you for your time, Matt Roberts, and definitely I think we're going to have to do a part 2 for this interview, but I really appreciate your time and service.
No problem.
Thank you very much. Again, this is L.A. Patterson with the Morning Marathon. You've been listening to my wonderful guest, Matt Roberts. And coming up shortly, don't go away, because we're going to have Mr. Peyton Vince coming in with Chris Grillo. And we're going to talk about the boys of summer, what it takes to become a professional baseball player. Stay tuned.
Gee, we ought to do something, Fred. Okay? How's about taking a nap? Hey, I got a better idea. Let's take a Winston break.
That's it! Winston is the one filter cigarette that delivers flavor 20 times a pack. Winston's got that filter blend.
Yeah, Fred. Filter blend makes the big taste difference, and only Winston has it up front where it counts. Here, ahead of the pure white filter. Winston packs rich tobaccos specially selected and specially processed for good flavor in filter smoking.
Yeah, Barney, Winston tastes good, like a cigarette should.
Oh, Egg McMuffin. Good call, babe. Fresh cracked egg. Oh, look at all the fruit in here.
We've got to try this, honey.
Oh, you're not my honey.
It's so good.
The simple joy of getting lost in a great breakfast.
It's actually how we met.
Ew. Could you tell me how to get to Carter Street?
Sure. Start on AI-9. Go coast to coast. Set up in the slot. Then wait. Catch the pass, dangle, snipe!
Wasn't that top shelf?
No.
Welcome back to Morning Marathon. You're here with me, Peyton Vince, and my guest at this time, Chris Grillo. How are you doing today?
Good, thank
Sorry
you.
for butchering your name already, Chris Grillo.
Yeah, it's good.
Anyways, you're a professional on your way to semi-pro, or?
I'm trying out for semi-pro. I want to play major leagues, but you know, since the age limit, I'm 20. You got to work your way up to minor leagues. So I'm trying to get to the semi-pro league as of right now.
Okay. And I know you played high school ball. Where'd you play high school ball at?
I attended John Marshall High School for 4 years.
And what year did you make the team? Like freshman, sophomore?
I made it my freshman year and all the way through for my sophomore, junior, and senior year. So I basically was on the team all 4 years of my high school career.
And how was that like, locker room wise and whatnot, making the team so young? And how did it feel for you to begin?
Well, for a freshman, it was kind of tough for me because, you know, taking a senior spot at shortstop, becoming a new kid there, it was a lot of hard work I had to do, but, you know, I overcame it because I'm used to, you know, being younger, going up against like the older generation.
Okay, and in the locker room, was there any hazing by maybe that specific senior you beat out at all, or was there any struggles behind the scenes that maybe the coach had to deal with, a couple fights breaking up, or?
Not bad hazing, you know. Normally they'd be like, "Hey, freshman, what's up, fresh meat?" They're calling me stuff like that, making me carry their bags and stuff. I did it, you know. It's what freshmen do, you know.
Right,
so
I know.
It was just all jokes aside. It was great though.
I know exactly how it feels for being a freshman, because back for baseball in high school for me also, it was pretty much routine, I think, for every high school. But anyway, speaking of high schools, what was one of the favorite teams that you enjoyed playing against? Maybe like a rival school or someone you enjoyed, maybe like a friend you played against?
It would have to either be out of Lincoln West or James Ford Rhodes, just because, you know, they're our rivalry. They bring the best out of us. It's always a good comparison playing against them. A lot of hard work and dedication going towards those games.
Okay. And what positions did you play back in high school?
In high school, my freshman year, I played third base because they had a senior at shortstop, but I beat a third baseman senior for that spot for third. My sophomore, junior, and senior year, I started at shortstop.
Okay. And did you play pitcher at all?
Not during high school. When I was younger, like at rec center leagues and stuff, but when I made it to high school, I was normally going to stick to my shortstop position.
Okay, and so for shortstop, what was someone you maybe looked up to, or why did you pick shortstop over pitcher throughout pretty much your high school years?
I would have to say for shortstop, it would have to be the great Omar Vizquel, number 13 for the Cleveland Indians. Idolize him like crazy, so every time I watch like film of his, like I try to learn from what he does, and he's just a great player and just a great role model, I think, for me.
Okay, and did you have the glove like Omar at all?
I have a couple gold gloves like Omar, so it's fun. That's why I wear number 13, just because of him. I want to be like in the Cleveland Indians uniform, wearing number 13, saying, hey, I wore number 13 just like Omar Vizquel that I idolize.
So it's a big idol of yours and role model?
It's a big role model. I want to stay in touch with him, like get in contact with him. Maybe, you know, he could teach me a little bit of what he learned when he was in Cleveland.
Okay, and after high school, did you play, you obviously probably played baseball since you're going for semi-pro, but who did you play for after high school?
After high school, I did a travel league out in North Ridgeville for the, where our team was called the Cleveland Naps.
Okay.
I played there for a travel league. I tried out, you know, for semi-pro teams and also like when I went to Tri-C.
And how'd that work out for you? Was there any like struggles or came close at all? Or?
The Tri-C one was a struggle for me because I was new on campus and they already had a team lined up. They were just looking for role players and backups.
Okay.
So it was tough, but it was a great learning experience saying, hey, I tried out for a college team. It's not a big like Ohio State College like that, but I still tried out for a college team, and you can't really say that much about it.
Right. And was there pretty much playing favorites by that coach from Tri-C since there was already a lineup set like you were saying?
For me, I noticed things like when they have like set lineups or favorite players, because when I was there, you see the coach keeping his eye on certain players when they're doing their drills and stuff, and when yours comes up, you're not like in his clique or anything. He normally is not paying attention to you. For me, it really doesn't matter if you pay attention to me. I don't want to be noticed. I want to be that kid that you're like, oh, I didn't even see him out there, but he made it here. That's great.
Okay. And you were saying pretty much your feelings of working your way up to actually try out for a college team, even though it wasn't so big. Was there ever maybe a dream to play for an Ohio State, a Kent State, any of the bigger schools that are widely known for baseball?
There was, yeah. I did want to go to the Akron University to play for them, but you know, money-wise, I'm just coming out of high school. I don't want to, you know, move out of the city to a big school. Let me start off, you know, a little bit slow with like Tri-C community school baseball. And if that works out great and I like it, you know, maybe go to like a Akron or a Toledo or a Kent. Okay, and just bouncing back to high school really quick, was there any players that you used to play with back in high school that maybe they had further progress than you? Maybe they're in a minor league affiliation now, or maybe in the same situation as you, they're also trying out for semi-pro? I did play against a kid from Lincoln West named Brian Ruiz that made it onto the Lake County Captains baseball team as a center fielder. But anybody else that I really know, not really besides him, but he was a great player for Lincoln West. There were scouts there all the time during his games, watching him, you know, wish him the best of luck for Lake County Captains, and hopefully to see him in the Cleveland Indians uniform. That's great. Actually play with him. That's great. So you actually maybe have a connection in the future. Well, if I tell him I went to John Marshall, it probably won't be a great connection with him. He probably, I don't want him coach. We always battle him, but I'm not the closest friends with him. But like I said, it would be great to, you know, play against a kid that you played with or played against in high school, and you could be like, I'm on the same team as him now. That's great to hear. And going from high school and Tri-C, was there any other schooling that you had afterwards, after Tri-C? For baseball-wise? Just in regular, like, education-wise. After Tri-C, I went to the Ohio Center for Broadcasting, you know, just to up my career a little bit on my sports knowledge and learn how, like, you know, radio and television is another dream.
Okay, and did your baseball past haunt you a little bit at all? Like, maybe it's just something in your past that's coming back to bite you because you're on the other side now, or?
I wouldn't say it haunts me. I would say it's in the rearview mirror because, like I said, I came here to Ohio Center for Broadcasting to learn that different side of the baseball field or radio, sports. It's another thing in my bag that I could say I did, and then basically a plan B.
Okay, and what did you like more necessarily, your baseball or the broadcasting side, so far at least?
I would have to say I like both because they're different. Baseball is something I grew up playing since I was 3 and loves to this day. Broadcasting, it's like I said, a backup plan for me. You know, I learned a lot of stuff to do and a lot of people I met in the industry. So it's basically a backup plan, I would say, if baseball doesn't work out.
Okay, and baseball after Tri-C, you said that you did try out for semi-pro, right?
Yes.
How did that work out for you? Was there any issues or anything that you left with that you tell anyone else at home, or?
I would have to say it went great for me, like I said, being only 20, going up against, you know, they're like 25, 26-year-olds. Basically being new, stepping on a semi-pro field was great. If I had to say something I learned from, you know, just try hard and basically go after your dreams. Something else that bothered me, you know, when I went for the second day tryout, I couldn't finish it because I basically popped my shoulder, so I couldn't really finish going through with the tryouts. But like I said,
disappointing on that one.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, it was great, you know, just actually stepping on a semi-pro field and saying I tried out for them.
Is there maybe a future tryout in your mind, or are you going to change anything up so you could actually maybe be a part of the team in the future? For any semi-pro team, pretty much?
I'm looking forward to when they hold their second tryouts for Avon Crushers in Avon. What I would have to do differently, you know, is just, you know, hit the gym more, work out, practice, just basically practice, and push myself until I can't.
Was there any, like, past coach or mentor that kind of helped you out through your baseball career?
I would have to say my father, because since I was 3 years old up to maybe 18 years old, he was my coach, you know, travel leagues and everything. He helped me out. He basically they're teaching me how to do all the shortstop skills, how to backhand the ball. Basically, he taught me a lot.
Okay, that's awesome. That definitely helps you out. And by not being necessarily the biggest guy, do you think size truly matters in baseball to you, like this day and age for baseball?
This day and age, now I see it, like I said, when I go to tryouts, you could tell who they're looking for and what type of athletes they're looking for, like the big guys that could hit 425-foot home runs and stuff like that. For me, I really don't, it doesn't matter what size you are, as long as you go out there and play the game and dedicate 100%, even if you're my height, 5'8", you could be the biggest guy out there, but you could also be short.
Okay, understandable, and that definitely, I love the enthusiasm you have and confidence in yourself. And I know before the show, you and I were talking, and you were telling me about this California Baseball League and a possible decision you want to make.
There's a California Winter League held in January. They want me to go out there and play for them for a month. It also could lead to a semi-pro contract or even a minor league contract, depending on how good you are. As of right now, like I said, with my shoulder, I kind of want to, you know, work that out a little bit more, you know, hit the gym more. So as of right now, like, I just want to work out on my body first to get that 100%, but you never know, the time could change by the time January comes.
Well, best of luck to you, and thanks for actually joining me today, Chris Grillo, and good luck in your baseball future. And that was Chris Grillo talking to us with his baseball career and future aspirations on the Morning Marathon. And now next, we have Gaby Ortiz talking with Melissa Meyerson. They have some words with education, and she works in education, and stay tuned, and it's very interesting, I think.
You know, Bugsy, in our line of work, I'm glad we have that insurance. wood insurance, Doc. Meep, meep. Nope, that's not it. The one that pays you cash if you get hurt and can't work. And Dad's, it's right on the tip of my bill. Meep, meep. Flapjack.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Tink, I knew the name all along.
And I would do anything for love. Oh, I would do anything for love. I would do anything for love. But I won't do that, or that, or this. No, not this! Definitely not this! It hurts, but I kinda like it!
While spry and agile, the young gazelle is no match for the raw speed of the magnificent cheetah. However, outfit a human with a pair of Skechers Go Run 2 running shoes, and you never know what might happen. Introducing Skechers Go Run 2 with midfoot strike technology. They're designed for speed.
Welcome to the Morning Marathon. I am your host, Gabby Ortiz, and today I have a special guest, Melissa Meyerson. She is the Chief of Staff for a company called TIES, the Teaching Institute for Excellence in STEM Education. How are you doing today, Melissa?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, good. Fantastic. I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Happy to be here.
Oh, yes, we're happy to have you. So tell me, you got your start in education when?
I formally got my start in education in 2009, working at Sanford Brown College. But before that, I volunteered a lot. I volunteered for Model UN, so we were running the conferences, and that was sort of an informal education setting. But in terms of actually getting a paycheck for being in education, not until 2009.
So was education something you immediately said, okay, this is what I want to do?
I think I always wanted to be involved in education, but I wasn't sure how. So when I started college, I majored in education for one semester, and then to me, I realized that was going to be 8 hours a day of public speaking, which sounded really awful. So I changed my major. But I knew that I wanted to be involved in education some way. I just needed to find a way that was maybe not teaching, because I don't think I would be great at that. So I waited until an administrative position came up at a college, and I always felt like I might want to be involved in higher education. So that's really how it started. I liked everything about majoring in education except getting up in front of a room of people and teaching them stuff. So I needed to find a way to avoid that. But I always loved the idea of being in education.
So speaking of education, what college did you go to?
I went to Kent State. So I graduated from there in 2006.
Nice.
Loved it.
Nice. Were you in any type of clubs in Kent State?
Well, before I volunteered with Model UN, that's actually how I got involved. We did Model UN, we did Model NATO, and then since I ended up being a poli-sci major, we had like a political science honors society on our campus, so I was part of that too.
So what part of teaching, what's part of education do you like the most? Like, what did you want to be your impact in education since you majored in it?
You know, it's hard to say. I think every time I think I know exactly what I want to do or what my favorite part is, I learn a different side of it, and then I love that too. So I feel like the list just kind of keeps growing. I love, being in 2 colleges at the beginning of my career. I loved working with students and, being at graduation and knowing that you were part of somebody who is going to be able to go into a job that they want. Like, I think about how I had professors and administrators who did that for me when I was in school. So I loved being part of that. I got more involved at OCB in curriculum design, things like that, and didn't expect to really like that. And I loved everything about it. Now in my current job, it's, there's still some impact in that area, and we have so many students that we work with directly or indirectly, and I seeing them succeed is such a huge thing for me. But even in the new role, there's been things that I never really thought that I would do. And it just kind of fell into my lap, and I was like, well, might as well give it a try. It's got to get done.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's, it turned out, as much as it wasn't something I thought I would do or something I'd want to do, now those things kind of end up on my desk, and I'm really happy to see them. So I think it's kind of a constantly changing answer.
Absolutely. So what has been the biggest accomplishment or challenge you have had to face in your career?
I mean, I always feel like my biggest accomplishments are individual students or, individual things that our schools accomplish. So it's not necessarily that I accomplished something, but it's such a feeling of accomplishment to see your students do things that are exciting. So even, now that I've moved on from OCB, I still get to see that every day because CBS Radio is actually the first floor of the building I work in now. So I'll have days when I go into work and it's graduates that I see all day long. And so,
Wow.
I know that they went maybe from being in a job that they didn't like or they wanted to move out of, and then seeing them there and seeing that they are doing what they wanted to do, that's a huge accomplishment for me.
That's a sort of like a fulfillment for you because you feel like, you played a role, an important role in part of their education, them graduating.
Yes.
Onto bigger and better things.
And it's always, obviously I would never compare, what you do as an administrator to what a student does to actually get themselves their diploma and get the job that they want. But it's still, just that you had some small part in it is such a great feeling.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I would feel the same way. I mean, I love helping others. I love, having an impact with others any way I can. You never know what that can do for you personally in your career. Now, you mentioned, you went, you tried different, companies, organizations, and other educational places. So, did you ever have face adversity in your career? Did you ever think, man, what if this isn't the career for me? How did you face that adversity, and what advice do you have for students?
I mean, I think in any job, there's days that it's really great and you can walk away and be like, I had a really good day, I'm doing exactly what I should be doing. And there's some days you walk away and you're like, what am I doing here? I'm not the right person for this, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I think I've been really lucky to have enough of those good days that it gets me through the bad ones. But it definitely, there are definitely some days you just have to push through and know that you're gonna get to a point where it's gonna be good again. But it's not, for anybody, I don't care what you do. I don't think every day is good in any job. But it's also, I think, just a matter of kind of jumping at opportunities that are kind of outside of your comfort zone.
Right, and taking full advantage.
So it's, I think, we were laughing last week. My boss and I were putting together boxes of engineering equipment to send to our new school in Kazakhstan. And she kind of laughed and she was like, I don't think this is what you thought you were going to be doing when you came to work for me. And it kind of made me laugh because I didn't exactly think I would be. But I think when you can look at the bigger picture of what you're doing, so I know that there's a whole group of kids in a town in Kazakhstan that would not have had access to a lot of the things that our students can do. And yes, I was stuffing boxes and that doesn't seem like a big deal. But, you also can kind of see the bigger picture that so many students are gonna learn things they wouldn't have been able to and have opportunities in their education and when they go to get a job that they never would have had if we weren't doing that.
Right, so it makes, some of the hard work, all worth it when you see the end results.
Yeah, definitely does.
So let's talk about your company, Ties. What is Ties and how did you get started there?
Ties is, I guess the best way to describe it is an education consulting firm. So we do a whole range of things. We do STEM school design, which really kind of covers a whole lot of areas, even if people don't think something is necessarily STEM. We run a lot of fab labs, which are digital fabrication labs. We kind of brought that into a school setting. So MIT created the idea behind the labs, and then we brought it into an education environment. And we're looking even to bring that into a preschool environment. And they're just the coolest thing ever. It's like a way that kids are learning and they don't realize that they are. They think they're just playing. And then we're also involved in a lot of stuff at a government level, so working with the White House and working with a lot of large corporations that are part of the STEM Funders Network. and kind of trying to just like bring groups together to improve education. So, you know, bringing traditional schools and traditional colleges, maybe career colleges, and then workforce and community organizations all together, just to improve students' experiences so that they're competitive, you know, not just with each other, but with the whole world of graduates when they look to get a job.
So it's basically a different method of education, a different method of learning, correct?
It's so many things kind of fall into it. I mean, STEM as an acronym covers what seems like really specific things, but the way that we do it is really based on design-focused learning. So it's not so much go into a classroom, someone lectures you about how to do algebra or how to do, you know, this part of chemistry. It's kind of, the way we've done it is to try and bring it to real-world problems. So a big thing we do are kind of these overreaching capstone projects, are what we call them, which is an engineering term, but it basically is a way that students in the curriculum are bringing everything they learn together. So things that you are expected to learn during that term, you know, in your English class, get combined with your physics and with your math, with everything else. And ideally what we ask them to do, depending on where they are, is kind of attack these grand challenges. Our school in Egypt is where we first started doing this. The government actually put together these 12 grand challenges, things that are huge pressing issues for Egyptian people, and let the students kind of attack those problems from a totally outside of the box way of thinking. And they're awesome at it. Our girls' school in Egypt won the International Science Fair last month.
That's awesome.
Against countries all over the world. And I don't think people think of, you know, Egypt, especially girls' school in Egypt, being a leader, but they went in and just did amazing.
Right.
And they're getting admitted to Ivy League schools
That's
in
amazing.
the U.S.
Amazing. And that does make a difference. So now your role as Chief of Staff, how does your role fit the STEM curriculum? What role do you play in STEM?
Any role that comes up for that day. So I've done, like I said, I mean, I had a day last week where we were loading engineering equipment up. You know, I do a lot of writing right now, so that we're, you know, as far as bringing funders in for a lot of our schools, you know, writing things that are for grants or, you know, for workshops or different organizations. I've been really lucky that she's kind of thrown a lot of the writing at me really early, and I think
And it's
knock
great
on wood,
experience for you too.
Such great experience.
So with that being said, you know, what is your ultimate goal? You know, what do you hope to accomplish as Chief of Staff for TIES when it's all said and done?
Wow. I mean, I think what we're accomplishing now is so great, and I think there's, you know, such a base of students that are having such a different experience in education, and then their lives are getting changed by that. And I think I just am excited to be part of expanding that. So we're expanding, you know, the countries we work in, but also the school districts that we work in, the cities that we work in, exponentially every year. So I think that so much of what we're able to do right now is going right. Just seeing more students be able to have those opportunities is what I want to see happen.
That's awesome. And lastly, real quick, tell the parents out there, how do they get involved in a STEM program?
Ideally, if there's a STEM school in your district, and we, you know, have organized some of those, I think it's a great opportunity for anybody. But there's also a lot of programs outside of school, you know, so the Great Lakes Science Center, they do great education things that are right in line with what we do. A lot of websites look at, you know, Girls in STEM or different STEM activities for students. I think that's the best way you can get involved.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Melissa. It was a great pleasure having you. I learned so much about STEM education, and it was just a great pleasure having you on today.
Thank you. It was great to be here.
No problem. That's all the time we have today, folks. On Morning Marathon, stay tuned.
It certainly is a big bun. It's a very big bun. Big fluffy bun. It's a very big fluffy bun. Where's the beef?
Some hamburger places give you a lot less beef on a lot of bun.
Where's the beef?
At Wendy's, we serve a hamburger we modestly call a single. And Wendy's single has more beef than the Whopper or Big Mac. At Wendy's, you get more beef and less bun.
Hey, where's the beef? I don't think there's anybody back there.
You want something better. You're Wendy's kind of people.
Tyler, have you tried these Doritos loaded yet? What? I've never even seen these before. Well?
What do you think?
The nacho cheese snack for the bold. Doritos Loaded. Get them at 7-Eleven and only 7-Eleven.
Good night, Mr. Goldblatt.
Good night.
And welcome back to the Morning Marathon. I am your host, Gabby Ortiz. I have Peyton Vince and L.A. Patterson, who just wrapped up their interviews. How did it go, guys?
It went very well for me. I learned a lot from my guest, Chris Grillo, just about the problems you can go through and whatnot, and how injuries can hold you back as an individual. And just baseball, even though it seems like an easy sport to some people, you have to definitely fight through it.
Yes, you do. And one of the things I noticed from Chris Grillo, too, he talked about his injury and he learned from that. And as he prepares for his next tryout with, I believe, the Avon Crushers,
yes,
he wants to train more, you know, so he's taking really a methodical approach, not rushing into it, but making sure he has it, you know.
And I could guess, just being injured alone, it's definitely a tough situation and a predicament just from being hurt.
Exactly.
And I found it to be interesting too how he talked about like his journey just going through high school and then going to semi-pro, and then I really liked how he talked about some of his idols like Omar Vizquel, and you know how he wanted to be number 13. You know, I really enjoyed his interviews. He seemed inspiring, you know, to a lot of people out there who want to be athletes but may feel like they have a long shot.
Right. Another interview that I really got some good, you know, education on, no pun intended, was Melissa Myerson.
Yes.
She's talking about her company Ties and STEM education, which is, and she was talking about the capstone style education process.
I really enjoyed the STEM education idea because back in high school I wasn't fond of algebra alone. And I could say it, my teacher seemed like a robot.
Yeah.
He knew everything, every math fact whatsoever. But like looking back at this, like if this was around and I actually went to a STEM school, it would have been awesome. I could have probably actually had a joy for math now also.
Yeah, it seems more like practical application, you know, put into it.
And like she was saying, it's kind of hidden in there. It's playing around and you're actually learning instead of actually knowing that you're learning and getting lectured.
Exactly.
Right. I learned a lot from Melissa personally as a female, you know, just working in the business and just being passionate about something that you love.
Right.
You know, I think that speaks volumes to all of us and all of our audience here.
Exactly.
You know, like you said, I wish I would have known about STEM education. I mean, I think it would have made a big difference in, you know, how I looked at public schools and school in general.
Right.
You know, so I definitely look for STEM to advance in the future.
Yes, I see that being the future of education on all.
Definitely, and it makes school so much more easier that way, I think.
Right, absolutely. Well, that is all the time we have today, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Morning Marathon. Catch us every hour on the hour right here on the Morning Marathon.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.
See ya.